Welcome. I'm Gayathri and I'm passionate about transformative coaching in the realm of life and leadership. My journey towards coaching started with an educational background in psychology and over 20 years of corporate leadership. Today, my commitment to help unlock limitless possibilities within each individual has culminated in the creation of my organization, Realize to Win. As a certified master coach, my philosophy centers around the power of the human mind and its boundless capacity for growth and achievement. My approach is rooted in the belief that with the right mindset, training, and guidance, there's truly no limits to what you can accomplish. My work is just not about reaching goals. It is truly about redefining the very boundaries of potential. Join me every week on my podcast, Catalyze Your Self, where we can dive into mindsets, experiences, and practical steps that will ignite your transformation towards limitless possibilities. I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Catalyze Yourself. I'm your host, Gayathri, and today, as always, we are diving into a powerful concept that has the potential to transform not just your own life, but also the lives of those around you. Today, we will dive into how simplifying all the dynamics, which could be factors that favor, factors that challenge, and action that allows you to take that action that will make the difference for you and ensure your transformation. Today, we will focus on how your inspired actions make your difference. Each of us will have our own way of considering what an inspired action actually is. And what this unique viewpoint is will determine what we perceive as an inspiration and how we harness it in our own actions. For some of us, inspired action is spiritual, as in guided by a higher power, our intuition, or inner selves. When we have this perspective, we see these actions as taken in alignment with our soul's purpose or divine plan. When we move forward with inspired actions that are intuitive, it is typically characterized by a feeling of effortlessness or profound rightness or certainty, and even knowing that we are being moved or supported by forces that is greater than ourselves. And then there are some of us, and inspired action comes from our mind, our psyche. From a psychological standpoint, an inspired action are those that are motivated by intrinsic factors, such as your personal values and interests. And these bring you profound feelings of enthusiasm. It often arises when you feel a strong resonance with what you're doing, leading to heightened creativity and productivity. Psychological flow, that state where you are fully immersed and focused in what you're doing, is very closely related to taking inspired action. And then there are some of us where the action results in how our body responds. And it's our body's response is our motivator. Physiologically, inspired action can be linked to increased dopamine levels, which gives you focus and makes you feel overall good. When inspired, you are going to experience a boost in energy, and it enables you to do tasks with greater enthusiasm and endurance. Have you noticed a sudden adrenaline rush when an idea or a solution suddenly becomes clear or actionable? This is what's happening. Taking the action itself is an inspiration because of how it makes your body feel. And then there are some of us who look at this holistically. And for those of us who do that, inspired action considers the integration of the mind, body, and spirit. It involves action that not only align with our mental and emotional goals, but it contributes positively to physical well-being and spiritual fulfillment. Holistic inspired action actually promotes balance and harmony within us, and naturally it will start extending to others in our environment. We have all had times in our lives where we had felt the urge or the surge of energy, a clear vision to do something, a deep inner calling to do something, a journey of healing that requires us to do something. And this is a pivotal point where generations of restricted thinking, our environmentally conditioned restricted thinking, or any number of challenges could be standing in our way. An amazing client of mine, and I have a saying that we use in many of our sessions. He starts with easier said than done. And I complete that sentence with, and it must be done. This single sentence holds so much truth in the path to inspired action and resulting transformation. It is true, in life, it is always easier said than done. Taking inspired action often involves a leap of faith. While it's easy to talk about following one's dreams and making significant life changes, reality involves confronting these fears, uncertainties, and real world constraints, and even other people's choices and actions. Whether it is leaving a secure job, starting a new business, getting over a heartbreak, or drastically changing your lifestyle. The journey of inspiration to realization is filled with obstacles. This part of the phrase acknowledges that while the idea of acting on inspiration is appealing, the execution is complex and often difficult. Despite the complexity and the challenges we could face, what is also true is when it comes to inspired action is that it must be done. Despite the difficulties, there's a compelling call on us to act on these deep inspirations. This is not just about personal fulfillment, but it is about living authentically and contributing our own unique value to the world. For some of us, this realization comes from the understanding that the regret of not pursuing inspired ideas could outweigh the fear of not attempting them. And so the need to act becomes a non negotiable and necessary step towards personal growth and fulfillment. You know who the arch nemesis of inspired action is? It is restricted thinking or limited thinking. Why? Because inspired action gives you the ability to kill restricted thinking. Inspired actions can truly serve as a powerful antidote to restricted thinking by challenging our limitations or limiting beliefs and expanding the scope of what we believe is even possible. Let me break this down a little bit so you see where I'm going with this. Restricted thinking often comes from habitual patterns, fear of failure, or lack of exposure to diverse perspectives. Inspired actions, just by their nature, encourage us to break out of our mental prison that we keep ourselves in. They're usually spontaneous and driven by deep intuitive insights, allowing us to see beyond our usual patterns of thinking. Actions give us results. This can prove what we thought was not possible before is truly possible. Inspired actions inherently involve creativity, which directly counters restricted thinking because it creates open mindedness and it fosters open mindedness and the ability to approach problems in new ways. When we act on inspiration, we are more likely to engage in thinking differently, exploring multiple solutions and ideas instead of being tied to the same conventional approaches. Inspired action will encourage us to be curious and to learn what we don't know to make that action. When we act on inspiration, we start acquiring the new knowledge and skills, and we start to shift our perspectives. And this reduces restricted thinking because we start seeing what's possible, beyond our current understanding. Psychological flexibility. This is considered a key indicator that you have a healthy, strong mind. And taking inspired actions requires a degree of psychological flexibility, which is the ability to adapt our thinking in response to changing circumstances or new information. This flexibility is so crucial for overcoming restricted thinking as it allows us to adjust our beliefs and behaviors in ways that foster our growth and resilience. I will make one last point on how inspired actions work to remove restricted thinking. This is where each inspired action taken builds self confidence and it reinforces our belief in our ability to influence our outcomes. Now, you add this self confidence to more inspired actions, and what we will often see is that it leads to new social interactions and collaborations, exposing us to different viewpoints and experiences. And this exposure goes a very long way to help almost dilute personal biases and expand our understanding of the world, directly countering restricted thinking by valuing diverse perspectives. Now, I know I've said a lot of words so far, some that maybe you were able to resonate with, and some maybe not. And I figured I should share some examples of where we can see inspired actions making an absolute shift in someone's life and those around them. First, I figured I should start with my own example. After about a couple of decades into my corporate career, amidst the hustle and the success and the achievements and the not so great moments, a quiet voice within me was growing louder. It was not discontent, it was about more depth, more meaning, more impact. It wasn't a dissatisfaction with my career itself. I was very, very proud of what I had accomplished. It was about yearning to do something more, to be more impactful in a way that resonated with my core values. My intuition was very clear. It was time to align my career with my true purpose, to foster growth in others by sharing the lessons I have learned and those lessons I have learned and gathered from others. It was becoming clearer and clearer to me that it was time for me to take inspired actions that would transform my life completely. Inspired action for me was about aligning my professional growth with my purpose, to enrich and empower others by sharing both my experiences and valuable lessons I've learned throughout my personal and professional journey. This realization did not come all at once. It evolved through introspection and a series of enlightening moments where it became clear that coaching was the platform where I could make a significant difference. Transitioning from a well established corporate leadership roles to dynamic world of coaching and business ownership meant leveraging every skill and insight I had gained and learning some more. Leadership, understanding of business acumen, organizational dynamics, personal development, these were not all just corporate tools anymore. They became the foundation of my coaching practice, enabling me to guide others towards realizing their potential. My fundamental fascination of the human mind and the limitless capacity of our brain to learn and grow with neuroplasticity, the potential transformation of the human psyche that can be built with simply a shift in the mindset, are all paving the way to prepare me to help others achieve their best. And of course, this shift came with its set of challenges. Stepping out of a stable career with predictable income into a less structured field coupled with the unfamiliarity of moving into building my own business and building credibility in a brand new professional arena. How did I address all these challenges? Simply by recognizing them as necessary parts of the journey. Each challenge was an opportunity for me to apply my lessons in real time, to grow, and to solidify my commitment to my path. Yes, it is always easier said than done, and it must be done. The impact has been profoundly fulfilling. Witnessing clients achieve their goals, uncover their potential, or find joy in their personal and professional lives has given me so much joy each time. To me, it's a testament of the power of inspired action. It is not just dreaming and wishing and hoping, but doing, guided by a deep sense of purpose. When I reflect on my journey, I'm constantly reminded that inspired action is a leap of faith. It requires courage, resilience, and the willingness to embrace the absolute unknown. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Let your purpose guide you, and let every small step be a reflection of your commitment to your purpose. Now, I'll give you my example simply to say I have walked the path, so I know you can too. However, there is another example we can use as inspiration that I would love to share also. LeBron James and his inspired action of establishing I Promise School in his home state of Ohio in the United States. LeBron opened this public elementary school aimed at risk children in his hometown. And this action grew out of his own experiences growing up disadvantaged and his desire to give back to his community in a meaningful way. I was researching into this to refresh my mind on what this particular school provides on his behalf, and I was mind blown with how generous and holistic his approach is. The school is not just focusing on education. It is also providing the students and their families with comprehensive support. Includes free uniforms, free bicycles, access to food pantry, counseling, and psychological services, and guaranteed tuition to local university for every graduating student. This approach addresses the broader challenges faced by students from less privileged backgrounds. By focusing on education as the foundation for success, LeBron James's initiatives empowers children to break the cycle of poverty. It is a long-term investment in the community that inspires hope and change, and leveraging education as a tool for improvement of society. And he's still involved even today, showing his personal commitment to the school and the students. And this highlights the authenticity and the depth of his inspired action. His engagement goes beyond financial support, reflecting a deep personal commitment to improving the lives and empowering young minds. What I've learned from my own experience and what we can all learn from LeBron's example is taking inspired action can transform your life and the lives of those around you. It is like throwing a pebble into a pond. The ripples, we know, extend way beyond that initial splash and sometimes beyond our sight. Now, in our lives, we all know somebody who consistently chooses to take inspired action. And if you know someone like that, observe and you will see a pattern. When we consistently choose to take inspired action, we will start noticing a few transformative qualities and outcomes that show up as results. We will start recognizing that how we are living now is a purpose driven life. When we take inspired actions regularly, we find ourselves more aligned with our personal and spiritual purposes. Our daily activities and long term goals now tend to reflect a deep understanding of what we find meaningful and fulfilling. And this starts making our lives purposeful and intentional. We will start recognizing that there's a noticeable boost in our overall well being. Taking inspired actions tend to give us energy and enthusiasm, which contributes to better physical and mental health. And what else does this do? This positive state of mind helps build resilience, enabling us to cope more effectively with any of life's challenges and stress. We will start recognizing that our inspired actions have been bringing more positivity and authenticity in our interactions with others. And as we can imagine, this will enhance these interactions and relationships. The best space to be is to have genuine, authentic, non judgmental, and supportive relationships in our lives. I think we can all agree on that. We will start recognizing that our inspired actions are helping us overcome our analysis paralysis that can come with overthinking. When you feel deeply inspired, there's a clarity and urgency that can help you move past endless deliberations and take decisive steps. And we will all start recognizing that our inspired actions frequently lead to significant achievements, whether in personal projects, professional goals, or spiritual growth. These accomplishments also contribute to that sense of fulfillment and satisfaction overarchingly with life. Yes, we absolutely know this. Taking inspired action is not without its challenges. It asks us to step out of our comfort zone and deal with uncertainty, and sometimes face outright resistance, both from within and from others around us. Yet, there's this compelling inspirational drive that makes it feel absolutely necessary. Why? Because it is with this step forward that the transformation begins, not just in achieving goals, but in expanding your understanding of what you're capable of. Each step forward dismantles a piece of restricted thinking, and it broadens your horizons and deepens your impact. So, how can you harness this in your own life? Start by tuning into what moves you, what tugs at your heart, what idea can you not let go of? Then embrace it in small steps. Not all inspired actions start off monumental, and some can stay small. The impact to you is what is going to be great. Sometimes it's those simple acts that show commitment to your path that will make that difference in your lives. So let me close this out by saying inspired actions indeed makes your difference. They define you, they shape your impact to the world. Inspired action is just not any action, it's the kind of action that's coming out of a deep connection to truly what matters to you, whether it is your values, your dreams, or a larger purpose. From a spiritual purpose, it's like a higher power you believe in guiding you. Psychologically, it's deeply rooted in your intrinsic motivation. Physiologically, it involves your whole body, your energy, and your emotions lighting up. Holistically, it integrates your mind, your body, and your spirit in almost a dance that feels exhilarating and profoundly just right. So, what's holding you back from taking your inspired actions? Fear, uncertainty. What each of us have to remember in these pivotal moments is that every monumental achievement begins with that first decision to act, that first step of act. Despite fear, despite uncertainty. So, what is your next inspired action? Think about it, commit to it, and watch how it transforms not just your life, but also the world around you. And if you're feeling stuck or unsure how to start, connect with me. I am a life and leadership coach, and I can support you. If you're interested in a high level summary of what I covered today, send me an email and I can send that to you. I will include my email and all my socials in the podcast description as always. Let us inspire and support each other because our inspired actions not only make our difference, they make our world a better place. I hope you will choose to support this podcast series and this message by sharing with those who could benefit from the message. I would also love your feedback so I can continue to grow and refine what I create for you. Thank you for tuning into Catalyze Yourself. I'm your host, Gayathri, and I would ask all of us, always keep in mind, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with that single inspired first step. Until next time, keep moving, keep dreaming, and keep taking action on all those inspirations that you have